Every Night is Game Night, episode 50.
Woohoo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Every Night is Game Night, and this is episode 50. We have a very, very special show for you today. This is Anthony, once again with Jason.
Yo, my peoples, what is up?
We did it!
We did it! This is a totally arbitrary number. I don't know why 50 is significant, but we did it!
It's halfway to 100.
Sure. It's because we have 5 fingers in our hands, so like we have 10 hands? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So we're episode 50. This is about the 1 year mark. I think we might have skipped 1 or 2 in there somewhere. So we can also pretend this is our 1 year anniversary, though I'm not paying attention. So you guys would know better than me looking at the feed. But it's a perfect opportunity to take a break, do something cool, talk to some other gamers, and reflect on what this podcast has become from where it started.
Yeah, so I had the chance. Anthony has unfortunately been jaunting off to the corners of the convention universe. So I stayed home and I piloted a couple of roundtables. So just, talking to people and we picked them from the Facebook Guild and also from the One Player Guild. I know, sometimes we kind of lean towards the Facebook Guild because I like pictures. That's the only reason, really. But we want to give some love out to the One Player Guild as well. Thank you, Albert and Julie and everybody else that runs that ship. So we have 2 roundtables for you. The first will be the women of solo gaming, ladies first as always. So you will hear from Sydney Bristol, Leanne Weaver, and Marina Freeman. On the men's side, I didn't really intend to do it this way, but we ended up getting 3 content creators, which is super cool. We got Colin Dangan from One Stop Co-op Shop. We got Adam Smith from Rolling Solo. And we got Hansworth Gruberstein from the Hans Solo blog. So you will hear from them, all these people, lots of different perspectives. You'll hear games that we wouldn't be caught dead playing. I'm kidding, Marina. I'm kidding. Not to single anybody out. But yeah, you're going to hear some really fun conversations in just a bit. But I wanted to make some time to talk to the man who has been here for all 50 episodes, except for one where you were dying of death. In sickness. But for the most part, this is your brainchild, Anthony. So, man, just tell us how you're feeling right now.
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. I mean, I started this because originally I had a very short solo segment that I was doing on the BGA podcast. And I recorded it separately, and then I would send it to Chris, and he'd splice it all together and put it up. And eventually they got a little bit long, and it just didn't make sense to keep putting it on there. So I took a break, and then I was like, hey, what the heck? I'll do my own separate podcast. I will do minimal editing. I will record it in 20 minutes, and I'll put it up once a week, so it doesn't take me a ton of time. And that's what the first few episodes are. It's me rambling about the stuff I was playing and kind of sharing with you my exploration of solo gaming, because it was relatively new to me in the last couple of years. And I don't know, it kind of took off from there. I think probably the first episode, but definitely the first few episodes, I put out a call for other people to join me because I felt silly talking by myself for 4 or 5 episodes for 20, 30 minutes here in my office. And then Jason hit me up, and the rest is history, as they say. We have the format you hear today. So less of me rambling, more of a structured conversation. But yeah, I mean, it all started just because this was something fun I was doing, and I wanted to somehow reach out and engage with other people. And just my background, I'm in marketing and content creation. So when I like a thing, I want to create a thing about that thing. So that's how BGA was formed. That's how this was formed. And that's how we got where we are.
Mm-hmm. And we're not going to stop. So it started as Table for One. Because we are going to talk about solo games. And then as we kind of went on, we're still going to talk about solo games. We always talk about solo games, but we didn't want to only be that, just completely trap ourselves in that one thing. So, Every Night is Game Night was born to kind of say, okay, we play solo games and so we've had guests on that have talked about all sorts of stuff. Matt Leacock was great. We talked about kids games, We've talked about like laser riders or whatever. But always always bringing it back to the home. We're always going to be talking about solo games, and it's just going to be bigger and better. So every night is game night. We are definitely part of the BGA family, and there's some really exciting things going on with BGA, which you'll learn about in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. So definitely stay tuned, guys. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. We just wrapped up a contest. We have another one about to start real soon on the BGA side, and yeah, I mean, it's just cool to keep growing stuff and having this opportunity to share, all the games we're playing and the people we're meeting and the events we're attending and just all this stuff that's going on. Whether it's, regular games on the BGA side that are, with the group out at game night, or the solo side playing at home or with your kids. Gaming happens in all different forms, and that was kind of the goal of this podcast, but also the goal of what we do in general, whether it's the written reviews or solo podcasts or regular podcasts or videos or whatever it is. So, thanks for joining us as we do all that.
Yeah. And I think without further ado, I think we can get into some of these roundtables, hear from other people, let them flap their gums for a little bit. Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the ENGN 50th episode spectacular. I am here when we have gathered some of the noteworthy lights in the solo gaming Facebook group. So I have 3 lovely ladies who have decided to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, at least 2 of them, to join us. And the other is joining us from across the pond in London. So without further ado, I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves in alphabetical order. So we are going to start with Leanne. Introduce yourself and talk about a little bit about why you play solo.
Hi, I'm Leanne Weaver. I'm from Wales originally, but I'm now in England. I play solo because my kids are a bit young to play some of my games. My husband's not really into gaming, and it's a nice escape for me away from real life.
All right. Actually, I'll introduce the other 2 and let them talk a little bit. There's Marina and there's Sydney. Hi, Marina. Hi, Sydney.
Hi.
Ah.
You guys, so you have little kids, right? I think, Marina, you have grandchildren, but you don't have children, small children in your game space, right?
Right. I just have a 9-year-old granddaughter that lives with me.
Oh, okay. So she can play games with you, right?
Yeah, she's really good at it.
Oh! She kicked your butt.
Beats me a lot.
Sydney, are you blessed with children over there? Or?
Yes. We have my husband's son, so he is my stepson, the child I have chosen. He is also 9 years old, but we haven't quite gotten him to play games with us yet.
Okay, well, give him time. All right, so thank you, Leanne. Let's move on to Marina. We heard from you already, Marina Freeman. You said you were from Wales. Marina, you are from Missouri?
Yes. Mid-Missouri.
Yes, I remember that. All right, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you play solo.
I got into board gaming about a year and a half ago. I was looking for a game for my granddaughter for Christmas, and I wanted something a little bit better than, your usual Parker Brothers and stuff, and stumbled upon some videos, and then I stumbled upon the Onirim video from Solo McLaughlin, and I thought, solo games. I was so excited.
Yes?
Yeah, I was like, that is so cool. And I like to play with my family, but I have a hard time shutting out distractions. When the 9-year-old's bouncing up and down in her chair and, blah, blah, blah and everything, and I start getting stressed because I can't concentrate. And with solo, you can do it in your own time, your own quiet room, and think and do it at your own pace. And that's what I love about solo gaming.
Yes, input stimulus is a big deal for some solo gamers. It's like, all right, enough noise.
Yes. I can't handle that.
Awesome. And last and certainly not least, as a matter of fact, not least because she is not only a member of the Solo Games Facebook group, she is an admin, and she wields the banhammer at every at certain times. So, Sydney Bristol, say hi to the peoples.
Hello. Yes, I do co-admin. Hi. I do co-admin the Solo Board Gamers group with my husband, Sean. We've started board gaming because he'd had this game, Settlers of Catan, years ago, and I got it for him for Christmas. And then our collection bloomed and blossomed and overwhelmed us. So now, like when we bought this house, I bought it specifically because we had an additional room that we could dedicate for a game space. So yes, we bought a house for a game room. We did that.
Okay. I got a basement for that.
we do not have basements in Texas. You can't have them in Texas. So we have a room. So it's nice. I started doing solo games for two reasons. One, I'm a fidgeter. So if we have downtime, if there are other things going on and I don't have anything to do, I want something to do. So I'll play solo games on my phone or small box things that fit in my purse. Other reason is that Alzheimer's runs in my family. The more that you engage your brain later and longer in life, it just helps supposedly to decrease your chance of Alzheimer's.
That is 100% true. Mm-hmm. There is a reason that Sudoku puzzles and all those word searches and stuff like that are so popular among middle to late age. Mm-hmm. Because yes, there is definitely a fight back that happens when you engage your brain in that way. So absolutely 1000% you are on the money. Cool. Okay. So let us get into a little bit about your favorite games. So I asked you guys to think hard. I know it's a very, very hard question about either a favorite game or a favorite gaming experience that you've had. So I'm actually going to leave this a little bit open-ended. Who wants to jump in and share theirs?
Oh my gosh, this is so hard. This is not a fair question. I'll go first. Okay, since I'm already talking, I'm kind of volunteering myself. My
Do it.
Current favorite gaming experience. So I recently went to the United Kingdom. I was there for a big cycling adventure with my mother. My mother does long distance cycling for fun. So she did 800 miles on her bicycle. So my part of this was I was her crew. So I wound up in these random small itty bitty country villages throughout England and Scotland. And so I was waiting for her at one of these stops. So I stopped the car, I opened the hatchback, and I'm sitting in the back of it playing Roll Through the Ages with just nothing but ancient stone fences around me and sheep and these big hills. And it was gorgeous. And it was really funny because it's like I'm playing Roll Through the Ages with stones that are probably, from the age that I'm playing through right now. But to me, that was really
aged stones, yeah. That's awesome. Oh, wow. Roll Through the Age, which one? Bronze or there's two of them, right?
Yes, there's two of them. It's the, I don't know because I didn't take the box with me because I was trying to minimize my luggage. It's, I want to say it's iron.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Though that sounds super cool. I love that. I played Sylveon, which is not one of my favorite games. I just happen to have it, but I played it in the delivery room when my kid was being born, just because I was freaking out and I needed to do something. Yeah. It's yeah. And that's not easy because Sylveon's a big game, so I had to kind of put those stupid wheeled trays together just to get it down there. But I remember it and the nurse was looking at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm relaxing. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Stressful times, so important. And we'd had so many bad equipment malfunctions and other things going wrong on that trip that, just being able to roll some dice and stress and be like, everything is fine it was really awesome. Important. It was stressful.
All right, but you got through it, right? Mom made it all the way through on her biking trip?
Yes, she finished. She did it in under the 80 hours. You have to do, it's from London to Edinburgh and back, and she did it under 80 hours, which was the cutoff. And it was the nice. Hardest ride they've done of this because of the weather. The weather was terrible. We had a 30% did not finish rate, and my mom got knocked off a road. She fell in a ditch. It was so stressful. So just getting through it and enjoying it was important.
And meanwhile, you're in the hatchback rolling dice. Good job.
Yeah, I slept in a car for a week to get her across that finish line.
Awesome. All right, Leanne, you have to top that.
Oh wow! Right, okay. Well,
I'm just kidding. It's just whatever you want to
that's
talk
really
about.
hard. I think my best gaming experience is that I recently went to my first con.
Okay.
And
Which was it? UK Games Expo? Or
no, I went to one called Manacon in Leicester. So it's a 3-day con. They hire out the local university. And being a solo gamer, it's hard. My family don't really game. My friends don't really game. So I drove 2.5 hours, turned up, walked up to the registration desk and said, hi, I don't have a room and I don't have a ticket and I'd like to come and game, please. And I realised, especially with, I suffer from anxiety, I thought, oh my goodness, what am I doing? And they were really friendly and got me registered, got me a room. And I walked in and thought, what am I going to do now? I know people say you can walk up and you can game, just go and ask somebody to game, but it's really quite daunting. And as I sat there and thought, I'll just hide and play on my phone for a bit. I'll get on our remote and I'll just play for a little bit. Somebody randomly walked up to me and said, would you like to come play a new game? I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And that was it. 3 days of gaming constantly, pretty much 19 hours a day.
Wow.
And it was
that's awesome because it's like
scary, but it was amazing because being so used, I still got time to fit in solo games and it was great, but the gaming community really pulled together for me, and it's been the most magical 3 days and I cannot wait to go again.
that is awesome because like I think when people think solo games, they think like, oh, you only play solo, you're in your basement and you hate people and whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think of solo gaming as kind of filling in the gaps, you know? So like you're between registration and finding a table, it's like, oh, I'm gonna pull out something quick, you know, and or at night you're like tuned up and you just played a bunch of games, you just want to keep going and everybody's sleeping. It's like, all right, I'm gonna throw down.
I was up till silly o'clock. But it was great. And even when I was solo gaming, people would walk up to me and they'd be like, what are you playing? Oh, this is Friday. Oh, I've never played Friday. Can you explain it to me? Yeah, sure. Of course I can. It's great. So I'm at a con with loads of people teaching them solo games, which is weird.
That is awesome. I love it. That's great. So Marina, they are setting you up. They are putting the pressure on you.
Well, I can't compete with any of those stories because I don't know any board gamers around where I live. I don't have a group. It's pretty rural area, and I don't know if there's any in this town or not. We don't have a board gaming store or anything like that. So I don't have any like awesome experiences. So I'll talk about my favorite game. It was a decision between 3 of them, and I think I will pick A Touch of Evil.
Yes.
I bought that game.
You do have a...
What?
Actually, you do have a story about that, but once you an interesting story about that. But yeah, talk about the game first.
All right. Well, it was one actually when I first got into board gaming. You know, I hadn't played very many of these games, and I stumbled across this game, and I thought the theme was really cool. And I read somewhere somebody said, "Well, don't even try to play it without at least one of the expansions, because then you'll be bored and you won't like it." So I got the base game and the Something Wicked expansion, and so I set it all up and I'm like, wow, this is huge, this is a big game, and all the decks of cards and everything. I started trying to play it and I was like, it was incomprehensible to me. I was like, what? It was just crazy. All these cards, and I thought you had to remember everything on them, and I just put it away for like a year. I thought about getting rid of it. I thought it's just I don't want to work that hard to play a game. But about a year later or something, I thought, well, I'm not going to let that game beat me. So I got it out. And, of course, I have more experience by this time with a lot of different game mechanics and everything. So I started reading the rule books, and I thought, I'm just going to do this. And I set it up, and I thought I'm going to try to get through one game, and if I don't like it, I'm going to get rid of it, whatever. So I set it up, and this is awesome. It is hard. I'm still learning. But you don't have to memorize what you've got all the time. And I realize now, you get to a showdown where you fight the villain, and then you just start looking for cards that can help you with each turn. And I fell in love with it and bought the Coast, the 3rd expansion, and now it's my favorite game. So when people talk about, I tried it and sold it, kind of recommend hanging on to a game because you never know when you might come back to it and fall in love with it. So I'm really glad I did. It's a big world. That game is a whole world kind of, and just got it to fit on my 4-foot table, and so I can leave it up, set it up, and leave it up, and come back to it for over a course of several days, and it's really fun.
Mm-hmm. And not only did you post a lot about the game, but you also contacted the designer or the publisher, right? How did that
go? Well, I decided that because it's 3 different, the base game and 2 expansions, there's 3 different rule books, and it's annoying because you have to keep flipping back and forth to the different rule books, and also between the co-op advanced game and the base game, and so the rules aren't really meshed together. I want to play it cooperative advanced, period. So I want to compile rules for cooperative advanced for all 3 of the boards and just integrate them so that I don't have to keep doing that. And so I contacted them because I wanted to use some of their pictures of the cards and the artwork and things to make this booklet, and I asked if that was okay. And they said yes, as long as you don't sell it or make a profit or post it online. I feel like I can probably share it with my group, they said, but not post it online. So I'm going to do that. And they told me then that they're going to maybe bring out a 10th anniversary edition of the game where they would integrate all the rules, which would be awesome. So maybe next year.
What?
Yeah, that's what they said. So maybe next year, that's what their plan is to do a 10th anniversary of the game. So that'd be cool.
That is really cool. Like I love that in this hobby. Like imagine you're watching TV and you want to contact like HBO. It's like, oh, that last episode of Game of Thrones. I want to do this. That'll never happen. But in this hobby, you could just contact anybody you want. And it's
know.
Hey, come on in.
And sometimes it's by accident. You just ask a question, and I asked a question on the Facebook page for DVG, who does the Cards of Cthulhu, and the next thing I'm chatting, and I'm with some guy, and I realize it's the game designer. So it's kind of cool. And talked to one of the game designers for a dungeon roll one time, and he ended up sending me free expansions. So that's cool.
Free swag, heck yeah. Okay, so actually that leads naturally into the other thing I wanted to talk to you ladies about is fan interactions. So I think that the solo group, the Facebook group, and this is a credit to Sydney and Sean who run it and a couple other people who kind of, keep things in line. I think it's a really positive place. But I wanted to hear from you gals about how it's been as gamers, as solo gamers, interacting online, interacting on Twitter, all that stuff. I'll leave this nice and open-ended. Whoever wants to come in, you guys can talk and whatever. Go for it.
Okay, I'll go first then. So my answer is probably going to be a little more complex, simply because so Sydney Bristol is not my real name. It's actually, I'm an author, so I write as Sydney Bristol. So for me, my interactions on social media are pretty broad and have different pockets of interest. So for Sydney Bristol, so for me, interacting with other gamers, it's usually I'm in person. I am overwhelming in person. I have pink hair. I'm loud. I'm opinionated and I talk a lot. And so in person, I totally understand that I'm a bit overwhelming, but I'm also enthusiastic. And so I think that has helped me show other people some games that they would not normally want to play, that maybe didn't really interest them or didn't look neat enough. But I always feel like if I can talk to someone about something that I'm super passionate about, that I have stand a really, really good chance of getting them to see it as really, really neat. And I think that has helped me turn some of my readers who read my books into game players. I have a fan group of people who just read my books, and we actually have conversations now about the games that they play with their families that I've either talked about in my book or that I talk about on social media. So in that regard, it's really fun to to turn families and other women onto gaming, because as a woman who also plays board games, it can be very intimidating to step into a predominantly male hobby, which is one of the reasons why we really, really try to make the solo board game group friendly to women, because some of my experiences in person and online have not been positive. I mean, we've gone to conventions and I've been groped and I've had things said to my face that you wouldn't believe if I told you. But yes, so my experience gaming is it's solo, it's group, it's online. I guess you would call me a game evangelist whenever it comes to turning other people onto gaming. I think that games are a great way for people who are both extroverted and introverted to have conversations and to connect and to have a great time. I think I just went so broad on that answer.
It's okay. You did bring up something, Leanne. You just spent a long time at a con. Did you have similar experiences, like as a female at surrounded by mostly males?
I didn't know. I know that I've heard stories of similar things. Now, this was a sit down and game con. It wasn't it didn't involve any form of cosplay. I think that would have had an impact on it. I found that there were a lot more women at the con than I expected there to be, which was nice. And that every guy I met was a complete gentleman. But I know that I've heard many stories where that isn't the case and people aren't as fortunate. I just hope that the industry is changing to reflect the majority rather than the minority.
So I just came back from doing the London Comic Con today, and I went over to have a little gaming corner, and I went to the gaming corner there, and I've been to several American board game conventions, and I will say that there's a difference, I think, in the people who are in the hobby in both areas. I don't know, the people in London were so nice and so welcoming. It was a great experience. At the American conventions, I think we're having such a huge influx of new blood and new people that we're for sure having a cultural shift, and it's not always been a comfortable shift, I think.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So then, Marina, I actually wanted to ask you a specific question because you had a really interesting post, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago. So if the gamers don't know, they probably know, like your avatar on Facebook is like a doll, right? And I forgot what that doll was. But then you put up a post with your real picture, and actually say more about like what you said in that post and how the community responded.
Well, I quit using my real picture because in other areas of Facebook, not gaming, I've had some really dismissive and cruel things said about my age. I'm 57. I don't think I'm old, but it got to be enough that I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. People would just dismiss my opinion or whatever because of my age and call me names and all kinds of things. And so it didn't happen a lot, but enough that I just didn't want to hear it. So I quit using my picture, and so it doesn't come up. It just never comes up. And when I went into the gaming thing, I didn't know. I expected a lot of young people, and I didn't know how I would be accepted being 57 years old. And so I just didn't do it. I used a picture and of a doll, and that went on. But the solo board gaming group was so welcoming and so nice and so supportive and so kind. And so I just wanted them to know what I really looked like and why I don't use my pictures. So I posted it, and I said, I explained that. And man, I mean, it almost got embarrassing for like 2 days. I got all these responses of, you're welcome at my table, and found out that a whole lot of people on there are my age or older, a lot of them. And I just really love this group. It is so supportive and so nice, and a little drama breaks out once in a great while, but other than that, it's like this place of freedom on the internet. You can go and not deal with that stuff that, there's no politics, there's no religion, there's nothing that polarizes people. And I've had nothing but support of being a woman either. Everybody's polite. Everybody's nice. It's a great group. And one thing I really appreciate about it too is everybody gets my sense of humor. That is so awesome because a lot of times, you deal with, you make a joke and somebody gets insulted or because they don't understand what you're even saying. And it seems like everybody on there does. Everybody's pretty articulate. I think people on there read. You have to be fairly intelligent and educated, I think, to play these board games. I mean, they're hard. And so everybody on there is pretty with it.
And if drama happens, we have Sydney behind us to wield the band hammer.
Yes, and they shut it down pretty quick, and that's good. It keeps it at a minimum, and I like it.
So thank you for your services on that end. So I think it's fair to say that it's a mixed bag, that there's still elements, like you were saying before, Sydney, that, that it's changing. So maybe there's a little bit of re-education that has to happen, or maybe there's old guard kind of attitudes. But for the most part, I think it's super positive, and it's really nice to have a conversation about this stuff and not do a bunch of complaining.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Definitely.
So I mean, is any other parting shots before we sign off? Anybody want to just throw a little shout out or something else like that?
I just want to say thank you for the group, because as someone, like I say, who doesn't have people around me that game and that suffers from anxiety, it's nice to have a place where I can come, a safe place to ask questions, especially as a newbie. I've only been doing this for about 12 months, but I've only been sort of socially talking to other gamers for a few months. And I can come and I can dip in and out and I can lurk and I can ask questions without feeling silly, and I can get advice. And I'd like to think that hopefully in time I'll be able to offer advice after being in this for a bit longer. And I've met some of the people in the group, and it's been a really, really positive experience for me. So thank you. Really has.
I'd like to say... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you too, because same thing. I just feel... like I said, there's nobody here to talk to about games. I started my own little page just with some of my friends on it because, and they probably just joined to be nice because they're not gamers, but I just didn't really have anybody to talk to about it at all. So a lot of people's eyes glaze over when you start to try to talk about board gaming, and so it's really nice, and it's great because people are so willing to help and offer suggestions and help you with rules, and I like to help others with rules of games I know, so it's really, really supportive group.
And from my
are you going to shout out your... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
I was just going to ask if you were going to shout out your ever-loving hubby back there.
I was just going to say thank you to everyone who's joined the group to give him a place to talk that's not just to me. So yes, my husband is fantastic. He is wonderful.
Most of the time. Not all the time. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining us. All right. So yeah, that's our conversation. Stay tuned. We are going to have a couple of other people lurking the solo Facebook group and a YouTube. So stay tuned for that. All right. So welcome back, guys. I am here and I'm joined by three really, really awesome content creators. We've been having a good time chatting on about life in the universe and everything. Maybe we'll post it, somewhere along the line. But I wanted to really get these guys on here, have them to share their stories, share their channels. They're fellow content creators. They love solo games, and you're going to hear the enthusiasm. You're going to hear how much they love what we do. So without further ado, I'm going to ask the three of you in turn to introduce yourselves to the peoples. Who wants to go first? Not all at once. Not all. Okay,
I will go first.
go for it.
Okay, so my name's Adam Smith, and I have a YouTube channel called Rolling Solo, and I focus primarily on solo gaming, although I do have co-op and multiplayer games, variants, all that kind of stuff in there, although I haven't done any rule or an unofficial or official variants yet, but I will at some point. Super passionate about solo gaming, most likely because I'm from Canada, so as these guys have been razzing me about, I'm all alone. So, so it's a good time. The other thing that some people may not know is my uncle is actually Rodney Smith. I don't know if anybody actually knows that or not. But yeah,
awesome.
So
No.
I've always had a tie-in to him even when I was younger. So we played games and stuff like that growing up, and so that was really cool. And then to see his channel go as successful as it has is crazy. And so I always kind of had that bug in my system to do this kind of stuff, but never did it until recently. So, yeah.
So
but I'm doing it, I guess, in a different capacity with solo. So
the lesson is all Canadians are related.
yeah, there we go. There's so little of us.
All right. So I'm gonna pick Colin. We'll go alphabetical. We got Adam, and now we got Colin. Colin, tell the
Cool.
people about yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Colin Dignan. I've got a channel called One Stop Co-op Shop. I do a lot of co-ops, obviously, hence the name, but I also do a lot of solos because they kind of intermingle a ton, solos, co-ops. I only started board gaming about a year and a half ago and just was really passionate about it, love it. You can probably hear it in a lot of my videos. I get so excited and pumped. And so I decided, well, as I'm playing solo all the time, might as well enjoy, posting it and see if other people can enjoy it with me. And that has been such a blast. I'm not going to stop anytime soon because it has been so much fun. And yeah, I've just been growing my collection and talking with bunches of people, including Adam. It's been so fun to watch Adam's channel too. So it's just, yeah, having a lot of fun over here.
Dude, you make Rado look like he is on Ambien. You are like so like when you roll and you get like 4 bones and you or something, you are like yes.
I know. I'm telling you, my wife sometimes actually comes downstairs and says, "Colin, what are you? Oh, you're just playing a board game." Okay.
It's on his 5th cup of coffee.
Yeah. I know. It's kind of sad, and what's sad is I don't even need coffee. It's just energy,
Energy.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's just it's the board game. Come on, you get into it, and then you just can't stop.
Awesome. All right. And last but not least, we have Hans Gruberstein. Introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, I'm Hans, and I have a YouTube channel called Hans Solo. It primarily focuses on solo variants. So I kind of got into it because I found my shelf and my games ever growing, like acquisition disorder for sure. Oh, there's another game out there I really want. Oh, there's another game I really want. This looks great. But it was really hard to find the time to really get with my group. And then I moved another 20 minutes away from my local game store. So it was like a 40-minute drive to go there and a 40-minute drive back. It just wasn't happening anymore. So I stumbled upon a solo variant for 5 Tribes, and I was trying to read through it, and it was like 5 pages long, and it was kind of confusing, and there wasn't really much input on the variant page. And I was like, you know what, there's got to be a better way to reach out to these variant creators because there's so many out there in our hobby that just take the time to put all this work into something. And I just wanted to help facilitate people getting those solo games to the table. I thought, what better way? Like, people own 7 Wonders. People own 5 Tribes. Like, there's a way to play this alone and really enjoy it. And that really drove me to putting content up. And it's really, my gameplays have jumped dramatically since doing the solo thing. And it's been so much fun.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't initially mean to like gather the solo content creators or a couple other people, and they had to drop off and in this little roundtable thing. But it actually came together. Like I know Hans from I think it was Roll for the Galaxy, that video that you did, and then I saw Adam, and I saw Adam's Renegade playthrough. I had just gotten the prototype, and I'm looking at Adam doing that, and then I ran into Colin. And Colin, I just talked to him. He just teaches me Sword and Sorcery right now. So I'm like, wow, you guys are enriching my life over here. Might as well invite you all on the podcast and have a good time. So thank you guys for making the time.
It's great to know that I'm making an impact.
Heck yeah, there you go. You're together we play alone. So I'd like to invite you guys to share one kind of noteworthy experience of a solo game, whether it's noteworthy because it was an awesome game itself, or it was noteworthy because of the circumstance in which you played it. Just kind of share a story. Like, that's what this is all about. So should we go... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go in reverse alphabetical order. I'm going to put Hans on the spot and give us a story. And if you don't have a story, just tell us about your favorite game.
Well, every game is so fantastic, and every new variant that I discover introduces a really interesting new mechanic to how they simulate another player or how to deal with a different mechanic or mechanism that's in a game. But I think the one that stands out most recently is the one for Lewis and Clark. It really just took a really blah solo play of it, where it was just every turn you move the race one more step closer. Every turn it's one step. No matter what you do, no matter what happens, it's just one step closer to the AI winning. This variant really made a huge, dynamic, just beautiful change to it, where you didn't know how many cards were going to be dealt before he moved. So one time he makes a 2-space jump, and the next time it's a 10-space jump, and you're racing, now finally racing against this Mackenzie Automa deck to finally get there. And the thing that was missing from the solo original base, where it was just, I have so many turns to get there, now it's, can I beat him? When is he going to move again? When's he going to make that big jump? It really changed the feel of the game. It really made it a robust, full of life experience. And I thought, wow, this is a really great variant, and I need to tell people about it.
It must be a really great trick to make that game interesting. I probably fell asleep the hardest playing that game. So, I'm going to have to take your word for it. I might have to revisit that, but yeah.
And you know what? It was a snooze fest when I was playing the original solo game. I think I only played it twice, but when I found the variant for it, I can definitely see myself getting it. I've already played it more times than I played the original solo form. So, I wouldn't tell you to try it again if you're gonna. But if you're in need for a nap, go ahead.
Oh, I have a kid, and the kid, her sleep patterns, they make sure that I am up all night and sleeping at any time I can do it during the day. So don't need Lewis and Clark for that. Actually, what? I'm going to skip the line. Speaking of kid and having to deal with a really young one, Adam, tell me a little bit about a solo experience that sticks out for you.
Solo experience. I think the best one for me that pops up the most is, and I guess I'll talk about one that I did on my channel just because that actually was more recent to me. But the Too Many Bones playthrough that I did was probably one of the most enjoyable playthroughs I think I've ever done, even off camera too. And it worked out flawlessly somehow, and I don't understand how, because I thought by the end of it I was going to die. I didn't actually know what I was doing. I was playing through the game. I knew the rules. I'd played maybe a couple hands in prior to starting the playthrough to get a feel for the game, but I really went into it thinking like this game is supposed to be hard. It's also got some luck, and die rolls can mess you a little bit, and there is some mitigation. Well, like they can mess you up a little bit.
Oh, and, I thought you invented a new word, or that's like a Canadian word, and mess you.
So they can kind of mess you up a little bit, but the thing is, you can mitigate all your bones that you roll and use it, to help you out later on. So at the end of the day, like I was able to go through that playthrough and ended up coming out with a win that I honestly didn't expect to have happen. I thought I was going to be knocked out pretty early into that one, but it became very quickly kind of a surprise favorite and may even be my number one solo game right now. Jockeying positions with Gloomhaven, I think, in terms of the best of the two. The only reason being is that I can get Too Many Bones to the table quicker, and yes. Gloomhaven's obviously more of a beast. So, but yeah, it was a blast. It was fun.
Cool.
So that's probably the most recent solo experience.
All right, noteworthy solo experience there, my man Colin.
Okay, so my first solo experience overall, because like I said, I've only started this about a year and a half ago, even just playing modern board games, was Project Elite. I don't know if you guys know this game, but it is a real-time cooperative, but you can play it solo, board game where you've got aliens running in and you're going and chucking dice as fast as you can. You've got these 2-minute rounds. And I decided to just, you know what? Let's start on hard, right? Solo, started on hard. I'll be fine. Well, I was playing with everything. So I had all the blue enemies. I had the huge epic enemies that, like take up 2 spaces on the board and they're all moving towards me. And I had my little momentum guy moving around. And somehow I actually won that as my first game. And I was like, this is amazing. Now, I have never won on hard on solo again. So that always sticks in my mind that literally the first time I played a solo game, Project Elite, which is insane, playing it on hard level, I actually won it. And it was a blast. I mean, you're chucking dice, you're throwing those aliens off the board, and it's just so much fun. Oh my goodness. I have 2 playthroughs out on my channel, and you'll just see how much fun they are. Because it's real time, and I love that real time feel because I just like making those quick decisions and moving on.
Speaking of, actually, because you're all, we're putting out content on YouTube. I'm lazy. I just sit there with my microphone and talk. But a game like that, or I guess everybody can jump in. We have a little bit of time here. Putting together videos of these, big games, lots of dice rolls. What goes into that? Is it like a lot of work, or have you got into a rhythm where you can kind of pump these out?
Well, personally for me, I've gotten to a really good rhythm for my content. I know exactly what I want to do scene for scene, and I cut the audio separately, which makes it a lot easier to manage my hands, my motions, and the camera. So I've gotten a really good rhythm. The biggest part for me is just really knowing the game and what aspects of it you want to show and how you want to show them. So the more familiar you are with the game and what you're trying to put out there and have it how it's represented, you're going to have an easier time putting it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would say for me, this is Colin. I would say for me the hardest part is keeping the momentum through the game. So I use one camera, but I move that camera around all over so people can see what I'm showing and what's going on camera. But that means every time I'm doing something, I have to pause, move the camera, refocus it, talk again, point at something, and then that's hard enough, but that's okay. But then going back and editing it all, that's the part that I hate. I hate editing. Oh, if I can get someone to edit my stuff, man, because I can still feel the joy and the excitement in the playthrough, even while I'm moving a camera, but then when I'm editing, I'm like, gosh, I sound like an idiot, or whatever, and why did I do that? What was I thinking? So anyways, I find that the most difficult part for me is editing. The actual playthrough, I do the whole playthrough in one night, just because I don't have a designated area, so I got to pull it all down. So I put it up, and I just stay up real late one night and do the whole video, and then I spend the next 3 or 4 days trying to edit it.
That's actually really interesting to hear. I like hearing the different styles. It's really interesting because, I'm thinking as you guys are talking, I'm thinking about my style too, and it's. I think we all have very different styles, and I like that. It's like with me, for instance, I do have a room that I'm able to throw a game on a table and leave it. So I'm not able, or I don't typically sit down and do it all in one night because for my stuff, I think I would run out of time essentially. So typically with mine, I'm doing it real time instead of editing for now at least. But there's a little bit of juggling going on in my mind about in the future potentially editing, but not really cutting things out, just kind of tidying it up and making it look a little flashier. But I kind of like that. For me anyway, I kind of like that gritty. Making decisions in the moment, seeing it from start to finish. You can't really, you're not really preparing for anything. You don't know what's coming, kind of thing. So you're kind of shocked and surprised when something happens because you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think that was going to happen. So it's a little, I think for me, difficulty wise, it's probably holding the camera, talking through everything, and then also playing it and thinking up, what my choices are going to be all at the same time can actually be kind of involved. So it's a little bit ridiculous, but for some strange reason, I think after I did the first playthrough, I think the idea that I had the camera on almost faded away. So it
Yeah.
it was there, and I was thinking about it the first time I did it. The second time I did it, it was almost like someone else was in the room filming it, and I was just playing. So that's at least how it felt. But I'm with mine. I'm not able to sit down in one night. Like, I think one of my playthroughs will typically take a week or more to get rip through it.
How about you, Hans? How's the video editing coming?
Oh, I actually really enjoy the editing process.
you need to hook up.
lucky.
Colin,
All
get
of
his
our
email
stuff
now.
I know. Jeez.
I'm all like, how do I want this scene to develop, and then how do I want it to look? It's like, to me, that's a really, really fun part of it. And for me, because I don't have a specific space, so I have to set up and break down in a certain amount of time. The time that I have to just play around with is the editing. I can sit with my laptop on my couch and just edit all night long, and not worry about, being in the way or having to pause the editing to do something. Like, I can get to it whenever I want. So I really like it. But because it's instructional, my videos are mostly instructional. I don't have to plan for the unexpected. Most of the time, my editing is pretty quick and streamlined at this point.
Oh, as opposed to Colin, where he has to he rolls something and he just juts his arms in the air, knocks the camera aside, and has to set it all up again.
And I have to set the whole thing up. Yes, that has happened once.
Actually, one last question I was curious about you guys. So you guys are all in the solo Facebook games group. Are you also in the one player guild in the BGG?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you how has been the fan interaction and people getting feedback? Is there some funny feedback, some difficult feedback, or has it just been really, really positive?
I'll go first. For me, so far, it's been mostly positive, but I've actually developed 2 really awesome relationships so far with some subscribers. And actually, one, I'm going to be going to Utah for 2 weeks for a vacation, and we're going to go meet up and play some games and everything.
Nice.
So I'm just that has been my favorite part. Has actually been the interacting with people. So since I'm playing solo all the time, it's
Shout
really
him out.
nice to. I know.
Who's the contact? Shout him out.
Wesley Jones. He's
Nice.
awesome. Yeah, and so just being able to be able to interact with people and have people see the videos and then give us feedback of, oh, hey, you messed this up. Oh yeah, okay, put that in the video, and then also they send you notes in Geek Chat and everything. So it's been fantastic. I think that has really been my favorite part, is the interaction with people.
Yeah, of the 3 sites that I usually post on, Facebook, YouTube, and Board Game Geek, and the One Player Guild sometimes, BGG has been the most receptive in terms of people giving feedback or saying thank you for doing this, or as simple as just like a nice little thumbs up. It feels good to get those things. To me, the most interaction that I enjoy is when I message one of the variant creators to say, hey, I really like your variant. I'm going to make a video for it. Are you cool with that? And the responses I get are really nice. They're super excited for it. They go back and look at these variants that they haven't looked at in maybe a couple of years because they just have moved on, and they retool a rule or something like that and say, hey, I made this adjustment. Can you play through it and see if it works better? And it gets them re-excited about a variant that they had done before. To me, that's the most rewarding part of my interactions on any social media network.
Do you have anybody particular you want to shout out? Like, for me, I played the Takanoko variant fairly recently, maybe a month or 2 ago. The guy who made it was TD Canales. I don't know if he's made a couple of other Automa style stuff. And I remember texting him. He's like, "Oh my god, I gotta subscribe to your podcast, please. This is great." I was like, "Okay." I'm glad I'm bringing you as much happiness as you're bringing me. Is there anybody you want to shout out, Adam?
Oh, for me? Sorry.
Yeah.
My mistake.
That's okay.
I guess with my stuff, probably Andy would be the biggest interaction. He's really good. We talk through Twitter as well. So with my stuff, I think a lot of it, what I really appreciate for the people that are watching my videos is the feedback that I'm getting during one part. And because I'm splitting them up and releasing them each day or maybe a couple each day, I try to do them so that I actually give the individual some time to give me feedback so I can make sure that my next video is more on par. But I I do appreciate the feedback I get back, and it's also really cool to see, or for them to see, and they appreciate me actually making those corrections, and they get back to me through messaging saying, like, thank you for actually taking the time to read my comment and make that edit and make that fix. And for the most part, I haven't been in any situations yet that have been really negative or anything like that yet. So I haven't run into anything where I'm sure at some point it'll happen, but everybody's been awesome so far and given amazing feedback, so.
Awesome, man. What about you, Hans? Any particular fan interaction that just really kind of that sticks out for you?
Elad, the BGG user Elad, I can't recall his name offhand, but he's been really good about submitting variants and responding to my videos on them. He's been really welcoming to the idea of putting his work out for everyone to see in video form.
Awesome. So, so thank you guys so much for sharing a little bit of time, sharing about your games, sharing about your process as content creators, and, shouting some people out, because, this is our episode 50. We want to make it just like a celebration of the people that are solo gamers, that are either podcast listeners, or they're just kind of, in the same world as us. So, thank you guys so much for coming on the pod, and if you guys want to hear more, I will probably post some of the outtakes of this in another episode. So if you thought this was too short, we'll mosey on to the next episode. But for now, thank you guys very much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. So that is everything for episode 50 of Every Night is Game Night. We are excited to start. We are super excited to start the next 50 episodes so we can throw an even bigger celebration for episode 100 in about a year. But for now, that's going to go ahead and be everything. Make sure you check us out on BoardGamersAnonymous.com, or you can type in everynightisgamenight.com and go directly to these episodes. You can find us on Facebook in the Board Gamers Anonymous page, on Twitter, ENGN_podcast or BGA podcast. We also have a guild on Board Game Geek, Guild 1735, or you can find us in the solo board gaming group on Facebook, where we spend plenty of time sharing thoughts and answering questions and just generally geeking out about solo games coming out this fall. So until next time, you can go ahead and grab a game off the shelf, and let's make every night game night.
Hey, everybody.